Hi, my name is Erica Zachary, and I will be presenting unto you today my presentation titled The Use of Personality Assessments in Making Employment Decisions. Welcome to my presentation. Personality assessments are beneficial to employers due to the fact that it helps them decide who is the best candidate or best fit for the job position. Bad hiring and promotion decisions can plague a company for years and cost it dearly. A candidate who looks amazing on paper and performs well in the interview process may perform poorly when placed in a particular position. Alternatively, some candidates appear weak in an interview, but would have been a diamond in the rough if they had made it through the interview process. Employers looking to improve their hiring, promotion, and management practices may want to consider the use of personality assessments. According to Cohen, Swerdlick, and Sturman, personality assessment measures the worldview, interests, attitudes, while also evaluating psychological traits. There are a number of personality tests that employers utilizes in decision making, which have shown great validity and reliability. Over the past decades, personality assessments have been developed to characterize the behavior, thoughts, and feelings of an individual. The benefit of personality assessment is its ability to sort, classify, and categorize people. Personality assessment in employment decisions helps employers during the hiring process, which deters them from bad hiring and assists them with decisions regarding promotions for employees who are already an asset to the company. Personality tests may also assist in evaluating and coaching current employees. Personality tests can also be used to identify individuals who are performing well in their current position but would likely fail in a higher one. Now I would like to provide you with some history in regards to personality assessments in employment decisions. There are many philosophers who have contributed greatly to the personality assessments. There are various tools which can be utilized to measure an employee's behavior. Sigmund Freud significantly influenced personality assessment in the psychology field. Also contributing to this was Austrian physician Alfred Adler and Carl Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist. In fact, Jung devised one of the earliest personality instruments, which is the automated word association test. Current practices. In making employment decisions, there are two tests which are applied, which is the objective test and the projective test. According to Mello, 1995, the objective test is administered in a group setting and measures an individual's characteristics, while on the other hand, the projective test is individually administered in a controlled setting and is intended to uncover some unconscious desires that are hidden from the conscious awareness. Assessments used in personality assessments in making employment decisions is the Myers-Briggs Type Inventory. That's one assessment. That assessment there is the theories in which Carl Jung describes. The MBTI basically takes and makes the MBTI more accessible and understandable and useful in the lives of individuals. This test was developed by Catherine Briggs and her daughter Isabel Briggs Myers, and it was made accessible back in 1943. There are four areas of distinction that this assessment focuses on, and those areas are as follows: extroversion versus introversion, sensing and intuition, thinking and feeling, and judging and perceiving. Now, taking this test is a voluntary test, and the results are to remain confidential. It is indeed recommended that the test user meets the test taker to determine, interpret, and also provide clarification and discuss the results of the test. The test users must be prepared and also provide information on how the test is interpreted and scored. Now I would like to go back to the introversion, extroversion, sensing, intuition, thinking, feeling, and the judging and perceiving of this assessment. The extroversion or introversion is whether or not one prefers to focus on the outer world or on your own inner world. Sensing or intuition focuses on the basic information you take in, or do you prefer to interpret and add meaning? When making decisions, do you prefer to first look at the logic and consistency, or first look at the people and special circumstances? Judging and perceiving in dealing with the outside world is basically, do you prefer to get things decided, or do you prefer to stay open to the new information and options? This is an interesting assessment. The MBTI can be completed in approximately 25 minutes, containing 93 items, all of which is self-reported, according to Roseman 2014. The format for this assessment is paper and pencil, and it is instantly scored. It is highly recommended the test users are trained. There are a series of questions, and your responses basically determines what personality type an individual have and provides general assumptions in regards to that individual's success. The next assessment that I would like to talk about is the DISC assessment. According to Mineo 2014, Mouton Marston stated in his theory that an individual's emotions can be categorized into the following types: dominance, inducement, submission, and compliance. The results of the quiz are used to create a personalized DISC personality file, providing insight into a wide range of DISC personality traits and motivating factors. The next assessment that I would like to speak about is the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, also known as the MMPI. This assessment was established back in 1943, and it was developed by Stark Hathaway and John Charlie McKinley. This test cannot be located online and is considered a protected psychological instrument, which means that the only person who can give it and interpret it are those trained to do so, such as a psychologist. The administration of this assessment is by paper and pencil and takes approximately 60 to 90 minutes to complete. The next assessment that I will be talking about is the IPIP NEO personality test. Now, this test was developed back in 1990 by Paul Costa Rico Jr. and Robert McCrae. The utilization of this assessment consists on measuring 5 broad personality categories and 30 subcategories. This test is beneficial to many organizations, in which many of them utilize to evaluate an employee's interactions in a multicultural setting. Legal risk and implications in personality assessments. In psychological testing and assessment, there are significant legal implications in administering these tests to employees and applicants. One case was the Carricker versus Rent-A-Center Incorporation, which violated the American Disabilities Act, according to Mulvihill 2005. It shows the risk associated with psychological testing. The case held that administering certain psychological tests to employees violated the Americans with Disabilities Act, also known as the ADA. The court found that the employer's use of the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, which is also known as the MMPI, as part of its testing process for managers, violated the Americans with Disabilities Act. The MMPI is basically a test for adult psychopathology, which is usually used by medical professionals to diagnose some psychiatric disorders. Ethical, cultural, and societal issues facing personality assessment in employment decisions. Personality assessment's focus is very broad, although it includes the utilization of psychometric tests. Country of origin, language values, beliefs, and customs all must be considered regarding personality assessment. Test validity and reliability. Questions of the sufficiency of a test as a measure of the quality it is interpreted to evaluate are answerable on scientific grounds by appraising psychometric evidence, especially construct validity. Cited Messick 1980. Pre-employment can have a tremendous effect on people's lives in which a number of ethical issues may arise when designing, carrying out, and making decisions based on such assessments. Ethics basically is knowing the difference between what you have a right to do and what is right to do. There are a few ethical issues that I have listed within this presentation, which are topics considered in the ethics of testing, which includes the use of test data, the qualifications of test users, the test development, fairness in testing, test selection, administration, scoring, interpretation, and the communication of results. Personality assessment involves a process of gathering information to facilitate career development, assist in understanding and coping with career-related problems or concerns, and facilitate informed career decision making. As I've said, although personality assessments often includes the use of psychometric instruments or tests, its focus is still much broad, as I've stated previously in my presentation. Contextual aspects are central to understanding assessment results. Culturally specific variables to assess include racial and ethnic identity, worldview, socioeconomic status, gender role expectations, family, language, and relationships. Personality tests are only one aspect of personality assessments that are best used with other information about the client and the environment. Testing refers to a method of acquiring a special sample of behavior under controlled conditions. Assessment instruments or tests also are used as measurement components of research. Thus, they play an important role in furthering our basic knowledge of the personality development and decision-making process. So therefore, that's why these ethical issues are very important as far as personal assessments goes in making employment decisions. So in order to avoid the risk of litigation, it is very important that employers consider, if they do consider such tests, that they would consider following precautions and practices, like, for instance, never use psychological or personality tests as the sole criterion for hiring or promotion decisions. Avoid using tests that require analysis by a psychologist. Review existing tests to ensure they do not include a psychological diagnostic component. Ensure the test does not contribute to a finding of a particular mental impairment or psychological disorder. These are all issues that can be avoided and which will help with the risk for litigation. In conclusion to my presentation, it is clear that personality assessments have its advantages and its disadvantages. Many employers until this day utilize these tests to make employment decisions, which is cost effective and beneficial to the company and its employees. And it is highly recommended that the employers take into account the advantages and the disadvantages of personality assessments. And this will conclude my presentation Following, you will find my references, and I hope you enjoyed. The end. Thank you.